My roommate tried to burn me alive. Story time. This story is a little long, so I'm gonna give you the short version, but if you want the long version, it's over on YouTube, so you should go check it out. But anyways, I used to have this roommate who was super cool at first, but over time, he turned out to be not that great. One time, he even stole my friend's charger and lied about it. And it was an Apple charger. And if you have an iPhone, you know we do not play about our chargers. So that's when I decided that I was going to distance myself from him. You know, I can't be friends with a thief. So I started making myself really unavailable to hang out with him, and he did not take that lightly. He started being extra petty for no reason. He threw a party in my room when I was trying to sleep. He would use up all my computer paper so that way I couldn't print anything for school. But the thing that got me really mad, he ate my Chipotle when I was in the shower. So me, being the completely rational person that I am, I waited for him to go to school and I took all his food out the house and threw it away. Completely reasonable reaction. And you want to know how he responded? He set the house on fire and then left while I was sleeping. Full story on YouTube. My dog ate my fish. Story time. Today, I decided that I was going to clean my fish tank out. And normally when I do this, my dog Bella, she always watches me when I clean the fish tank. I don't know why, I guess it's just exciting to her. So I take my fish out of the tank, I put them in another bowl, and I place the bowl on the table. After I do all that, I'm like, okay, let me get some gloves because I don't want my hands to get all nasty and stuff from whatever's in the fish tank. So I walk away to get gloves and I'm only gone for like a minute max. And then I hear something fall over and I'm like, oh my God. So I run back over to the table. I see the fish bowl is knocked over and there's water all over the ground, but there's only one fish flopping around. So I save that fish and put it in a bowl and I look for the other one and I cannot find it. Then I put two and two together and I'm like, where is my dog Bella? I go look for her and you guys, I find her on my bed chewing something. I was like, oh my God, please tell me you did not. So I tried my best to get it out of her mouth, but the only thing that was left was part of my fishy's tail. My brother shot me in the eye. Story time. When we were younger, my brother was always so mean to me. He always made fun of me or made me do things I didn't really want to do. Anyways, during the summer when it got really hot, me and him would always have water gun fights. And on this particular day, I remember it being really hot, so my dad decided that he was gonna surprise us with new water guns. They were really big too, half my body size. But anyways, when he gave them to us, he told us to be really, really careful with them because they were kind of strong. And they were, because when my brother would hit me with it, I'd be like, ooh, ow. Okay, but that kind of hurted me though. So like I said, my brother was very mean, right? In the middle of our water gun fight, he pretended that his gun stopped working. So I'm like, what's wrong? We just got these. And he was like, I don't know, I think there's something stuck in my gun. Can you come look at it? So me being the big stupid dummy head that I am, I walk over to him, I'm like, let me see. And I stick my eye right into the gun hole. And he goes, do you see anything? And I'm like, no, I don't see anything at all. And then my brother goes, how about now? And he shoots it in my eye and then my eye starts bleeding. I glued my brother's mouth shut. Story time. Growing up, me and my brother did not get along at all. We hated each other and we would fight literally every single day. This one day, me and him were playing Wii Sports and I, of course, was winning. And he was not happy about it. So he started calling me all these really mean names and making fun of my ginormous head, which I'm insecure about. So I was like, shut up. And he was like, make me. And then I was like, okay, I will. Then, later that night, I waited for him to fall asleep so that way I could start my mission. Went over to our closet and grabbed some Elmer's extra strength glue and rubbed it all over his lips like chapstick, baby. The next morning, he woke up panicking because his lips were completely stuck together. And my mom had to slowly pull his lips apart and it looked so painful. I got in a lot of trouble for it, but he was quiet for the rest of the day, so it looks like I shut him up. Worst birthday ever? Story time. So for those of you who don't know, my birthday had just passed. It was on Sunday. And since we're still going through this pandemic, my beautiful auntie offered to make me a special birthday dinner. So of course I'm excited because you know she can throw down in the kitchen. The only thing is that she needed me to go to the grocery store with her to get the food, right? So I'm like, okay, sure, whatever, that's easy enough. So she comes to pick me up and she has her dog in the back seat. So I get in the passenger seat and we make our way to the grocery store. Well, on the way to the grocery store, I start smelling something stanky. So I'm like, is it me? Well, no, it was not me. I turn around and look in the back seat and her dog had pooped all over the back seat. And I'm not talking about regular poop either. It looked like melted chocolate ice cream all over the place. It was all over her seats, all over her seatbelt, all over the dog, and it stunk so bad, y'all. So we had to take the dog back home. But when we get to the house, the dog gets excited, jumps from the back seat into my lap and covers me in dog poop. The neighborhood kids hated me. Story time. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends. And the reason why I didn't have a lot of friends is because I didn't fit in. And the reason I didn't fit in is because I'm not straight. And they would make fun of me and call me names and pick on me, but I would still be around them because I was just really desperate to have a friend. But there was one kid in particular who really used to torture me, and we're gonna call him Jeffrey. And Jeffrey had bad skin and crooked teeth, so I don't know why he was talking about me. But anyways, every weekend the kids would get together and we would all play kickball. Well, they would play kickball because I never actually got picked to be on anyone's team. And I would never say anything about it until this one day. They were picking teams for kickball and Jeffrey was one of the captains. And again, no one picked me to be on their team. So at this point, I'm kind of frustrated because I really wanted to play. So I was like, why don't you guys ever pick me to be on the teams? And then Jeffrey was like, sorry, you gotta be straight to play this game. And then I was like, I may not be straight, but neither are your teeth. And then people started laughing at him and he was like, what? And then I ran home. I had a creepy coworker. Story time. I used to work with this man and we're gonna name him Lester. Lester was a man in his mid-40s and he would spend most of his day hitting on young women. Mind you guys, some of those girls weren't even 18 yet. Like, how disgusting are you? Well, one of the girls he used to hit on was my best friend at the time, and we're gonna call her Gia. And Lester would literally follow her around all day, just complimenting her and telling her how pretty he was, and he would say like really inappropriate stuff too. And Gia had really bad anxiety, so she would never speak up to tell him to go away. Well, one day when I wasn't at work, Lester had walked up to Gia and asked her on a date. And when she said no, Lester got a really bad attitude and told her that he was gonna follow her home and make her pay. Now, we really didn't think much about it until later that day. While Gia was at home, I was on the phone with her and then all of a sudden she got really quiet. And when I asked her what was wrong, she said she saw Lester put something in her mailbox and then drive away. And when we looked inside the mailbox, we found a note that said the words "found you" on it. Full story on YouTube, it gets creepy. My little cousin played my life. Story time. When my cousin was little, I used to babysit him all the time. And I'm gonna be honest, he was not the easiest kid to watch. He always had something to say. So one day when I was watching him, we were playing Super Smash Brothers and he was whooping my butt. And when he's winning a game, he's the type of person who likes to trash talk. And the entire time we were playing, he kept making fun of me and he kept calling me booty. And he was like, booty boy, bet you can't win this round, booty boy. And I am a sore loser, so I was getting very frustrated. So I decided to quit because he started to hurt my feelings. So after the game was done, he came up to me and he was like, is it okay if I go outside and play with my friends? And I was still mad from the game, so I was like, no. So my cousin was really confused and he was like, why? You always let me play outside. And I was like, it's because I'm booty. And my little cousin looks at me and goes, well, you are what you eat, and walks out the house. My best friend locked me in a car trunk. Story time. So when I was in middle school, I had this best friend who we're gonna name Ashley. And Ashley was pretty mean to me. She would borrow my stuff and never give it back, ask me for money and never pay me back, and she would also make fun of me in front of people to make herself seem better. But she never tried to harm me until this one day. I was at her house and she asked me to play hide and seek, so I was like, sure. But it was just the two of us, so I thought it was pretty weird. She then said, before we start, she wanted to show me some of her favorite hiding spots, so I was like, okay. Then she takes me outside to her mom's car and tells me that she likes to hide in the trunk. Then she asked me if I wanted to see what it was like in there, and I was like, sure, I guess. So she opens the front door to the car, pops the trunk, and I get inside and she closes it on top of me. Now I was fine until I realized she walked away and left me in the trunk to die. I was in there screaming for 2 hours, and the only reason I was let out is because her mom heard me screaming inside of the trunk when she had to go get groceries. My boyfriend put our dog in the oven. Story time. So I used to date this guy and we're gonna name him Thomas. And Thomas was a pretty good guy, except for the fact that he had a little drinking problem. Now when I say little, I actually mean big. He would get completely wasted and then do the most bizarre things without even realizing it. Like this one time he got plastered and decided he was gonna do the laundry. But instead of using laundry detergent, he used a whole bottle of Coca-Cola. You can imagine how frustrated I was. But nothing compares to this one day he decided to get drunk. I was in our bedroom taking a nap, but then I was woken up from our dog scream barking. So of course I ran over to her to make sure she was okay. But when I got to her, she was in the oven and Thomas was there holding the door shut. So I had to push him out of the way, take the dog out of the oven. The dog was fine, by the way. Then of course I had to beat him up and then break up with him. I got my best friend expelled. Story time. When I was in high school, I used to have this best friend named Kyle. And we used to mess with each other all the time. Like this one time, he smacked our gym teacher's butt and convinced him it was me, and I got suspended for like 2 days. So of course, I had to get him back. So when I returned to school, I came up with this prank that may have went a little too far. I stayed after school and waited for all the teachers to go home. Went to his homeroom class and destroyed it. I mean, I really messed it up. I dumped over the teacher's desk, took a permanent marker and wrote all over the students' desks. And then I took that permanent marker and signed Kyle's name on the whiteboard. The next day, Kyle got called to the office and I thought he was just going to get suspended like I did, but they actually decided to expel him. And he couldn't convince them that it wasn't him because our school didn't have cameras at the time. Until this day, he doesn't know it was me.